Welcome to my scrapbooking process video titled Summer. This layout I wanted to experiment with geometrical shapes. I chose two little photos that I had printed off many years ago. It's of Adrian and Bronte playing in the summer. I wanted to use a triangle shape. Now the idea for this layout's actually come from a lot of the online communities. If you look at their galleries, a lot of them are using, a lot of other scrappers are using geometrical shapes in their layouts, whether it's in the pattern paper, in the photos, in the style, how they're scrapping. Right now I'm cutting a template, a 1.5 inch triangle. I use templates to help me cut more pattern paper and also for my photos. Not very good at measuring, so if I make a template I can keep using that for cutting. Just making sure that the images in the photos are actually going to work with the triangle that I've just cut out. What I'm doing here is working out how I'm going to place the triangle on the photo. So I've marked where the images are, and my idea at this stage is to line it up, the image with the line, the half line I suppose, in the triangle. But when I have a play I find it's more difficult to work out how to do it that way. So what I actually end up doing is holding up the photo to the light and seeing the figures through the back of the photo, placing the triangle where I want it and tracing around. And here I am just cutting out the triangles. It's quite easy to cut triangles out because you keep your scissors straight and snip down the three sides, and it gives you an even and a nice straight line. If you stop and start while you're cutting, that's when you tend to go a little bit wobbly. Now I'm just going to flick through. I've just got a 6 by 6 inch pad and I'm going to flick through and find some papers. I want bright patterns, but I wanted them small as well. And I was looking at the water of the photos, hoping that I could find a nice water theme. Now I've gone back to the little printed pieces, seeing if the triangle actually fits across the words, but I couldn't get the triangle base to sit how I wanted to with the words in the right direction. Thought this pattern had a nice little wave look to it, so it came out. And once again, seeing if the wording would be able to fit the right direction of the triangle. Slide it against them. So they're the 4 colours that I've picked out, or the 4 pattern papers. I thought at this stage that I would like to add something else to it. So I kept flicking and having a look through some other pattern papers and greetings and words, seeing if it would fit, but decided that it didn't. Now what I'm going to do here is just flip the worded pattern paper over and trace around the triangle to cut out the triangles, or to give me a template to cut out the triangles. I will actually skip cutting out the triangles of the 4 other pattern papers here, because you really don't need to see me trace and cut so often. The editing video that I'm using actually doesn't fast forward really well, so apologies that this is taking a little while to get through. And I'm just using the scraps and reversing the shape of the triangle so I can get the words up, starting at the base at the top and then reversed with the point at the top as well. So it just gives me a variety of printed triangles to pick from. Okay, as you can see, the 4 colours of the pattern papers that I've cut into triangles. Now I'm going to actually position them on the paper in what I hope is a nice geometrical pattern. I'll start by positioning the 2 photos where I want them. I don't want them close together, I want them spread diagonally from top right down to bottom left, just so your eye draws across the page. Now I'm just playing with the patterns and the shapes just to see if I can line it up and get a nice look and feel to the page. Moving it up because the bottom pattern didn't quite reach up to the top side, and just having the movement of the pattern papers once again diagonally across the page. I do tend to use a lot of diagonals because I think it makes your eye move across the page, making you take in everything that you see as you go. Just keeps the eye moving and tells a nice story as it goes through. Other times when I'm planning planning my layouts, I actually don't have an idea of what I wanted to do, or I start with a basic idea, in this case the triangles, and I just tend to work and go with the flow. I've decided now that I wanted to have my edges all inked black, give them the same consistency, draw the images and the pattern paper together, make them feel like they all belong together. It also, when you're working with geometric shapes, using a bit of black makes the whole layout a little bit bolder, a little bit brighter, and just gives it that wow factor. Okay, I just cut out a lot of the inking of the edges, just so it didn't take up too much of the time. And what I'm going to do now is actually ink the edge of the cardstock of my base. Just a bold black ink all the way around. A few extra smudges are not going to worry me because my idea is to make it quite a messy background look. And here I'm rifling through my stash trying to look for my dauber, which I just found, and my plan now is to grab some black ink or mist and put some splatter effects on the page. So I've got the Crafty Notions black spray, a few flicks to start with to give it a little bit of a messy look, and then the dauber. Now when you're using a dauber, if you want big splats, lift your dauber well away from your page. The higher you lift it, the better the force, and it creates a bigger splat. So I've got quite a good variety of splats there. Now I want to do some inking, so I'm just going through and I'm showing you the stamps that I want to use on this page. Now they all have to do with summer, sand, really beachy theme. Must apologise, I didn't realise I did not film me actually using the stamps on the page. What I have done is just randomly created a background where I've just stamped the different stamps, and just randomly across the page, no rhyme or reason, just a little bit here, and I've faded some of the stamps out, and then some of the others I just kept re-inking just all over the page. What I'm doing now is lining up my triangles, trying to remember the actual original shape and feel to the design that I had originally, where it ran from the top right to the bottom left hand corner. I realised I probably should have taken a photo of it, but as I often do, I just go ahead and mess things up and when it comes to actually sticking them down, it turns out totally different than my original idea. I have at this stage also got the double-sided tape already on the back, so I'm just positioning and a little bit of a push down to put them in the position. As you know by watching my other previous videos, I do tend to lift and move my elements quite often, so the double-sided tape really works for me. And I've decided that that's all I want on the page. I don't want to join all the triangles as I originally did. So now I'm just looking for elements to go onto the page. Now, this is a Heidi Swat word sticker. It is actually quite flexible and flimsy. You can shape it when you're sticking it down, but when you are peeling it off the transparency sheet, you have to be really careful because they do tend to rip a little bit. So take your time, and they're not good for lifting. So once it's stuck, for me, these ones are stuck. I don't tend to lift them. Just having a look at some more elements for decoration, and I've chosen some chipboard. So just once again with the beachy summer theme to it, and I am sticking these down, or putting them in position of where I think they should go. Now they do have a sticky back, but they're not all that sticky, and they do tend to lose the sticky and come off in your protection sheets for your pages. So once I have stuck them down or put them on into position, I go back and I use some glue or clear fluid in this case, and adhere them to the page. I also have gone ahead and inked the edges just to make them tie in and make them feel part of the page. And once again, using the black makes it a bold statement. Right now I'm sitting back having a look at the page and wondering if I have finished. I decide that I think it needs a little bit more, so I pull out some Amy Tangerine stickers and just flick through them, having a look and seeing which ones I think will suit the page. At this stage I look at the colour, I look at the shape. Once I've picked out what I want, I ink the edges of them so they fit in with the other elements on the page and then position them. Stickers are another one that if you put them across the photo, they don't lift very well because they lose the backing stickiness. So once my stickers are down, I try and keep them down. And here I am actually going back and using the three-dimensional glossy accents now to actually adhere the chipboard. Apologies, I thought I'd done it earlier. The video is actually skipping all over the place, so I can't tell what I'm actually doing or what's happening. So it's a little bit slow and disjointed, so I do apologise. Does anyone else have problems with their glossy accents? Mine actually clog up all the time, forever sticking the pin in and trying to get them unstuck. Right now I decide that I want to put some more colour onto the page. Right, I mean, who needs more colour with all those primary colours? Of course you do. So I'm using the enamel dots and I'm just randomly going to put them all over the page. No rhyme, no reason. Because it is such a geometrical, haphazard layout, I do literally just move them around until I find a position that I think looks good, and there I stick it down. really regret putting that one right in the middle between the peaks of the triangle. But right now I'm just leaving it there. I'll probably change it a bit later on. And I think I've finished putting my dots away, and I'm actually looking at the page, contemplating whether if I should do more or if it was finished. And it's done. So, very geometrical shaped page, and thank you for watching.